What is going on, guys? Thank you for joining me for another Degenerate Watch live stream, and hello to everybody that's watching this back on the replay later on. Thanks to everyone who joined me there for the premiere. It was kind of a short one. It was kind of only a short video, but yeah, I just decided to premiere it and just kind of see who was about, and then kind of do this live stream after it, just kind of catch up with people and just have a bit of a chat and just see what happens, sort of. And I'm thinking of maybe doing something like this after some of the premieres, because I know sometimes when we're in the live chat and stuff like that, we will get, you know, into a conversation and stuff, and the conversation sometimes ends abruptly because the premiere comes to an end. So I was thinking to kind of continue the conversation on or whatever by doing something like that. And hopefully as well with some of the members videos that I do, if I was able to do a live stream after those similar to this, you know, for members only or whatever. So thinking about doing something like that to kind of get a few more live streams done and stuff. Now, I do have another live stream coming up. I think I have, yeah, I do have another live stream coming up that I've been talking about, that I've been planning on doing for ages, and I am going to get around to it. I didn't get a chance to do it tonight, so I decided to do this instead, like, because the last couple of nights I have been trying to do it, but I have been tired and stuff like that. So I didn't want to start the stream because, and then end up like falling asleep in the middle of it or whatever. But there's quite a bit to go through. So it's basically the Regency trial that happened here. Just get the picture up there for a second. Yeah, so it's basically the Regency Hotel trial that we covered back in the Irish crime live stream that we did, and we're gonna the verdict happened anyway. The trial's over now, and the verdicts came in, and the man you see on the screen there, Jerry the Monk Hutch, was found not guilty. So he's gone off presumably back to Spain, to where he was before they picked him up and brought him back to stand trial for that. But we're going to kind of look into the trial, look at, you know, what went down and the kind of ins and outs. And there's kind of some questions being raised about the Garda investigation as well. And yeah, very bizarre trial. And the crazy thing about it is that, you know, a couple of people have went to jail in relation to it, but it's been mainly for either facilitating in terms of, you know, being a getaway driver or providing, you know, a room or whatever. People just being involved. Nobody's actually being charged with the murder of the man. And I presume that's, I know a lot of people say, well, you're kind of in that lifestyle, you know, that sort of thing, you know, that's a risk you take. But, you know, at the end of the day, that guy was still someone's son. And I often think about, what must that be like for his family to see with that trial going on and nobody being brought to justice for it as such. So yeah, we'll kind of look into that, and that's kind of a bit in depth. But as we're saying, like Hutch was found not guilty by a 3-judge special criminal court, and it was a 13-week trial, a fairly long trial and fairly high profile trial here in Ireland. It was in all the papers. They're still kind of talking about some of the stuff that went on, but I posted on Instagram there. I just want to get it get it up there. Yeah, so I posted on Instagram there a while ago about it. Just those you see on the screen there now. Those are some of the headlines that were in the paper the day after. So some very clever headlines there. The Midas Hutch. My favorite one was Mr. Unhutchable. So they were having a great field day playing around with catchy titles and stuff like that there. But really leading up to this, we did think that maybe he was going to end up getting charged with it. But as I said, we will go into that in that live stream. I kind of need a bit more time for that stream than I have now at the moment to kind of go into everything there. But it should be interesting, and I hope to get that done very shortly, because I've been talking about it for a while. And that stream, I tell you how long some of this has been kind of building up for. It kind of goes back to the whole Ohio derailment. That's what the stream was initially supposed to be about back then. But when I cover this Regency trial in that stream, I'm going to cover my thoughts on that derailment and stuff like that as well. So we'll probably get into some other stuff as well, but that'll be the main focus of the stream. And as I said, this stream that I'm kind of doing now, it'll be kind of something I try to do after some live videos, or after some premieres, go live and try keep the conversation going. But I'm going to get to some of the comments there now. I see a few comments have come in. Excuse me, I was just getting a bit distracted there talking about this. But so that's what we're going to be looking at there soon. And I just want to get our little live view back up there, and then I'm going to go into have a look at the comments there. So hello to everyone that's joined us. Hello to Strangier, Kiwi Dave, good to see you. Roisin, how you doing? Chuck is joining us. Simon Mitchener, and we have a good few people here, a good few regular folks here this evening. And just Strangier, I seen your post on the community tab, but I actually wasn't showing up. It was in the held for review because there was an email address in it, and sometimes YouTube does that. I think it's like a filter, for like links, and I don't know if it's links. I think it's just kind of like email addresses and stuff like that. I think it's kind of like a privacy thing or whatever. But I have seen your message, and I'm going to get on to Miss Mandy about that. I have been inundated with messages for some reason lately. There's been an influx of messages, unusually, because I don't usually get that many messages, but I've been trying to catch up on everything, and especially with trying to get some videos done and all. But I am going to get around to that and try sort something out there, and that should be interesting. So it's good to see everyone. Oh no, you're okay, Stranger. No, it's just I've been meaning to get around to sorting all that out there, but and so Simon said, "Gonna have to bottle it shortly, as I need to head for bed." When I read that first, I thought you were saying I was going to bottle it or something like that. But no, it is a fairly late one. I was just kind of, I wasn't feeling too bad this evening. I said because I had that video put up there yesterday evening, and that was the thing. I was supposed to do it yesterday evening, and I ended up falling asleep. So we'll forgive that. Oh, hi Joe. I had put it in a pinned comment on the premiere there that I was going to do a live stream after. If I had a bit more thought into it, I might have actually put a post up on the community page or something like that. But so it's good to see everybody, and yeah, I just decided to come on after that stream anyway and see what was going on. I have a few like little bits that I was going to talk about here or whatever. One of them that I just seen there this evening, and there's an awful big stir about it online, is the fact that there's going to be some, well, there's talk of it anyway. I don't know if it's set in stone yet. A lot of government officials don't seem to know anything about it at the moment when they've been talked to about it. But about the Gardaí being the Gardaí, I think it's two or four Gardaí being deployed over to Disneyland. I think it's during July and August or something like that. To apparently help Irish tourists out over there. I'm not really buying it, to be quite honest. I understand the idea behind it and all that, but I just what I can't understand about it is the fact that we're so pressed here at the moment for resources, and the fact that they're going to take, four Gardaí, possibly, I don't know, I think that's what they were talking about, away and send them over there to kind of help out. Now it's something to do with they're going to be with some French police over there. I really don't know. I'm not really buying the whole way that they're selling it, but yeah, there's a lot of talk online anyway. There's people slamming it. There's people approving it. There's people talking about some sort of conspiracy theories about it as well. But apparently, like I was ignorant of this until today. But apparently, like, this is a thing that's going on. It started last year. This going over to Disneyland, but yeah, it's crazy. Like um the thing that most people are angry about is the fact that, like, somebody put it saying that, oh, well, while some 80-year-old woman has rang the guards after being burgled or robbed, like, they're sending them over there, yet she could be waiting a long time for a response, is what a lot of people are kind of giving out about stuff like that. But and the fact that any of the reports or whatever that I've looked at about it, when they've asked, like, government officials, questions about it, they don't really seem to know what's going on. They just keep kind of deflecting to the Garda commissioner about it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, but basically what they're saying, I'll see if I can actually pull up something there to do with it. Um, yeah, so they're saying that apparently this started last year, and let's try pull it up there. So it says several uniformed Gardaí spent July and August of 2022 patrolling the Mont Saint Michel area, or Michel area of Normandy, popular with thousands of Irish tourists every year. Now the scheme has been rolled out further. Now, I understand the premise behind this. It's because, if Irish tourists are on holiday over there and they see a familiar uniform, familiar to talking to familiar, accents or whatever, they may feel more at ease. They may be able to explain something more easily. Like, I understand that, but when you think about it, like, a lot of places, like, like, let's say main tourist places, like, you'd assume Disneyland, being such a more popular place like that, would have English speaking people there, like, they'd be able to sort out your problem. Like, and I haven't myself ever heard of anyone complaining that they've never been able to communicate at Disneyland to get an issue sorted out. So I'm not I'm not really buying that, like, and the fact that some places, like, I know there are some kind of out of the way places that maybe you wouldn't have that many tourists, and maybe there's not, that many English speakers, but I suppose you can't deploy Gardaí to every town that a tourist might potentially go to. But I don't know, I just find it bizarre, since we're so strapped for resources here. Um, it says they're set to head to Disneyland Paris this summer to help Irish punters enjoy their holidays. The French ambassador to Dublin has revealed. Um, the pilot scheme that saw Gardaí work in northern France last summer was so successful that it's been extended to other parts of the country this year, including the Disney park close to Paris. The scheme was the uniform Gardaí patrolling the massive site with French police during the peak summer months, offering advice and assurance to Irish holidaymakers who need their help. Um, and speaking to us at the French embassy in Dublin's Merrion Square, uh, not going to try pronounce that man's name and make a hack of it. But he also confirmed the Gardaí would be deployed to France for the Rugby World Cup. Now, I can understand maybe to the Rugby World Cup, where you know what nations are going to be at it, so you could have police from those nations. Yeah, I'd understand that, or a little kind of have a representative there or something. But with Disneyland, you could have tourists from all over the world there, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I wonder to have police from every country in the world there patrol. I doubt it, but I just don't understand it. Um, but yeah, I'm kind of going off on a tangent about that. But I just so there's some of there's a Garda there with a French police officer. That was obviously last year. Yeah, in Normandy there. Yeah, I just like to know more about what the actual issues are that people are having that this helps that can't be solved by people that are already on the ground there. Like surely Disney have people working at the park that are there to solve problems. And if there's crime, like surely some of the French officers that would be deployed to Disneyland would be multilingual because they know there's people coming from all over the world. It's just bizarre. Um so I'll just catch up on some of the comments there. And then Dave was saying there he didn't get a notification for the premiere. Yeah, I don't know what is the story with YouTube. Sometimes they're it's hit and miss sometimes with notifications. And Florida government already doesn't like Disney because they stand up to him. Uh, he was a big Trumpy. Oh, Florida governor. Yeah, I like. I often seen Disney there. Like when I was like I've seen a couple of documentaries about Disney. About like, when it started off there, and I suppose Disney was fairly smart the way like he bought up all that land there, have everything together. Like, but yeah, like I'm sure it brings in an awful lot of money to Florida. But yeah, I don't know which is busier. I presume the one in Florida, Disneyland in Florida, would be probably one of the more busier. But I'm not sure. Hello to Mobile Mechanic. Good to see you. I think you actually joined us on one of the I think it was on the last live stream I did when I was out and about the I might as well have called it the Minecraft live stream. It was that pixelated. Hopefully the next one's a little bit better. Yeah, Joe said that the logic escapes me, and yeah, that's the part that I don't understand about it. Like that, like it's just so it's bad here at the moment for resources. Like there was one lady actually commented in on Facebook about it, saying that her Garda station in her town, and I think she lives in Selbridge in Kildare. She was saying that her town has a population of about 20,000 people, and the Garda station is only open for 5 hours a day. Like there's guards based there 24 hours, I presume, but like I mean, the desk is only open for 5 hours a day. I presume they can't afford to have a guard at the station at all times. Um, I know there was another person telling me something about up in I think it was either in Cavan or Monaghan. I think it was Cavan. Um, that a friend of theirs was going up to get a car back, and the guard said that they had to come at a certain time because there was only one guard available there to deal with these sort of things. And like if he was to deal with him at this particular time, there'd be no guard available, or it was something weird. I was just saying like there is a lot of under resourcing going on, and to be sending like I understand sending Gardaí away to places where like obviously there's a whole thing going on where there's an investigation into the Kinahan crime cartel or whatever. And I understand that they had Gardaí deployed in places that they are like in Dubai and stuff like that. I think they're actually on the run now. I think they're actually something I was reading there a while ago. They maybe have up stakes from Dubai and went to Iran because I think things are starting to get a bit of heat on them over there in Dubai. I know. Well, I know. I suppose Dubai's in the desert, so there'll be heat on them anyway. But um, police heat. Um, Simon, I don't know. So sometimes I can understand the things we do, but then there's other times it baffles me. But it all depends. But yeah, like, as Roshi says, like Kerry accent can be difficult to understand. There's a great clip on, I think it could be on YouTube or maybe it was on Facebook. I remember coming across it sometime where it was this guy and he had like the heaviest Kerry accent ever. And like I could not understand a word he said. Like I'm pretty sure the people who were interviewing him were just like, yeah, cool. Next question, because they probably didn't understand what he was saying. But um, yeah, Euro Disney's still there. And another bizarre one, I found that there's isn't there a Disney over in like Japan or something? There's one over there somewhere, I think. Which I was like, oh wow, I didn't actually know that. But I presume, I've never been to Disneyland, let alone went to multiple different Disneylands. But I don't know if they're all like a carbon copy of each other or they're slightly different. I don't know if you went to the Euro Disney here, in Europe, if it's like it'll be near enough the same. Probably not. But I think the one in Orlando is massive anyway. Oh, what's up, stranger? No, good to see you. And I hope you had a good day at work. Hope you have a good evening as well. Yeah. Yeah, and you can hopefully catch you on the next live stream as well. Yeah, I wasn't sure, Roisin. I seen. I don't know when it was that I read something about it, and I was like, because I didn't even know there was one over there. The one over in Asia. And I was thinking it was in Japan or something like that. Like something like that would probably do really well in China. You know what I mean? I'd say like there's a lot of people over there would probably love something like that, but I don't know if I don't know if it'd be allowed. But yeah, there's one in California. Wasn't California like the original one or something like that? And then they had the one over in Florida. Then yeah, Simon said off to bed. I'm decades behind on beauty sleep. If you're decades behind on beauty sleep, I must be centuries behind, millennia behind on beauty sleep. Uh, but I hopefully should catch up with that. Thanks for the super chat, Simon. It was good to see you, and that will get the Wolves something to chew on. And speaking of the Wolves as well, I'm going to be doing another Wolf update video very soon because there's been a couple of developments. They're good developments in terms of hooks and also something to do with one of the new ambassador wolves that they're going to have. So yeah, so I'm going to be doing a video on that, and then of course we'll have a video next month, sometime hopefully in the towards middle to the end of June, which will cover our renewal of the adoptions and stuff like that, and any other news that happens in the meantime. So yeah, so those will be coming up very soon. Hopefully around the time of the channel's birthday, so that's sometime around the 14th of June, and I'll just have a little look here on the calendar and see. So 14th of June. So that's a Wednesday. So sometime around then I'll be doing something to celebrate the channel's birthday. It's the channel's third birthday. So should do something around then. And obviously then when we sort out the wolf adoption stuff, we can We can do another stream or something about that. And Dave saying, "Are you a new wolf daddy?" Well, we'll all be new wolf daddies again in June. But I suppose I suppose my dog here is only a little Yorkshire Terrier, but he likes to think he's a wolf, you know. So he makes up in personality for a wolf. And wolf mammies, sorry, Roisin, I wolf mammies and daddies. So yeah, I've had my rant about that Garda situation, and just something before I forget about it, um because I definitely will forget about it if I don't say it. Um, so this I wanted to say the reason why I had that view up from that webcam, because I come across a couple of different webcams to kind of have up, in the background when we're doing a live stream or something. But this one here is from the Brian Boru pub in Glasnevin. And the interesting thing about this is that this is a view that we probably will not be able to look at for very much longer, because according to a report that I seen back in January, that this pub here, it's a 200-year-old pub, and is set to be demolished under plans for the new metro link for Dublin. The On Board Planala approved the plans back in September of last year. Headigan's, the Brian Boru pub in Glasnevin, is set to be demolished under plans for the long-awaited Metrolink. The planning application for the Metrolink project was launched by On Board Planala in September last year. The latest version of the plan is costed at somewhere between 9.5 billion to 23 billion, with construction expected to begin in 2025. So I don't know when the pub is actually slated to be demolished, but yeah, so that's kind of sad, because I'm pretty sure that pub is a big part of the local area and it has a lot of history, being 200 years old. Especially bad for the family that runs the pub as well, with all that kind of, family heritage being lost that way, The Metrolink, of course, says will start in Swords and finish in Charlemont, will serve Dublin Airport. About time that something served Dublin Airport. I think we're one of the only countries in Europe that doesn't have a rail link to the airport. You can only, it's a bus or a taxi, or you can you can walk. I suppose you could try walk, but it wouldn't be very good. There'll be 16 stations built along the line, and the Brian Boru pub will have to make way for the Glasnevin stop. One of the, was somebody commenting there, it was a former journalist, Frank McDonald, said that the project in its current form will lay waste to chunks of the city centre, but won't integrate city transportation. One major casualty in the plans is the Brian Boru pub, which is between the Royal Canal and Glasnevin Cemetery. He wrote on Twitter, "Here's another major casualty of the Metrolink plan. The landmark Brian Boru pub, Hart's Corner, is slated for demolition to make way for the proposed Glasnevin station in what the environmental impact statement concedes would have a very significant impact on the area." So yeah, it's probably part of a lot of people's lives in the area to, go into the pub and meet their friends and, their neighbours and stuff like that, especially when it's those small local pubs and all. So it's so that's kind of sad there, but I just thought I kind of use this webcam, since it's a view that we're probably going to lose after a while. And there's some accent bashing going on in the comments. And one day he will grow up. Well, he is fully grown now. He's nearly 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. So he's an old boy. Joe said, "I don't have an accent either because I am from Boston." All of you have accents. Yeah, we have all the accents. Suppose I have to embrace the accent, Dave. Dave saying we don't have any rail link to the airport. Yeah, that's it's weird. Like in this day and age, like you think that'd be something, especially when a lot of governments are banging on about sustainability, environmental impact, and stuff like that. And then there's stuff like that. Another thing that I thought of that maybe people think I'm mad for saying this, but do you ever notice that a lot of government buildings and stuff like that are floodlit at nighttime? And like, okay, fair enough. In the middle of December at 8 o'clock in the evening, there may be tourists around in Dublin that may want to look at some of the buildings and take photographs. That's fair enough. But at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, is there a need to have some of the buildings lit up, like floodlit? The same with some other buildings, like monuments and all. There's people aren't going to be out there at that hour of the night looking at the monuments and stuff like that. I just think if they're talking about, there's little ways they could save there, especially if you walk by most of those government departments in Dublin at the weekend or at night time when there's nobody in them. You'll see computers left on, and on monitors on, lights left on. And I say maybe just people working late, but I know there's a lot of wastage goes on, that way. So it's just a thought. Um, Hello to Brian, joining us there from Canada. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, Roisin's right now. Ireland's public transport is horrible compared to the rest of Europe. Like where I am, like let's say you want to go to Dublin, right? So there's only a couple of trains a day. I don't know the times off the top of my head, but there's a couple in the early morning. I think there's one at 6, one at 7, and then there's one at like 8:30, 20 to 9 or something like that. But then there's nothing at all for like a good few hours. And then there's another train, and it's kind of hit and miss then. And it's the same when you're trying to come back out of Dublin to here. You have kind of a few options bunched together, and then there's big gaps. So one of the recent things they've done is they've put a new service on, but the time that they've chosen for it, like the train comes in here at 10:30 at night going towards Wexford. And yeah, okay, there may be people traveling at that time, but I can't see it being in high demand. If they had that service on at a better time in the daytime, you may get more people using it. I just find it bizarre. Like, another thing is recently in the town here, we've had a bus service cut that bizarrely, as soon as it was cut by Bus Éireann, a private company, we're not sure what the private company is, whether it's a local bus company or another bus company, from outside the town or whatever, but they've decided that they're going to take it on. So it must be viable enough for them, there must be enough money in it for them to do it. And there's enough demand there. And now the question's being raised of why did Bus Éireann cut the route in the first place? So there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense when it comes to that. And yeah, public transport here can be very brutal. Like, and another thing is, right, so if where I live, if I want to go to Waterford, let's say, I say, oh, let's go for a weekend out in Waterford or something, right? And you want to go on the train, let's say, I don't want to drive right now. There used to be a bus that came through town that you could get on and it brought you to Waterford, but then they don't do that anymore. So now what you have to do is you have to go down to Wexford, get off that bus, presumably, possibly, most likely wait for another bus to come, because there's never a connection, nothing's ever joined up, nothing ever works in sync. It's the same as when the train used to arrive in Rosslare, and the ferry would come in, but there was all these things of the train wouldn't wait for the ferry if the ferry was late, and then when people got off there was no train, and like nothing is ever linked up properly. And in my situation, if I wanted to go to Waterford in the train, I'd have to go from here up to Connolly Station in Dublin, then go across the city to Houston Station. So either on a Lewis or taxi, bus, or walk, or hire a bike or something, whatever. Go over to Houston and then get the train from Houston down to Waterford. And then on the way back, I'd have to do the same in reverse. So, like, literally, Waterford is about an hour and a half's drive away from here. Yeah, probably an hour and a half's drive away from here. So like the journey from here to Dublin on the train is about 2 hours, because with all the stops and stuff from here to Dublin takes about 2 hours. And then the journey from Dublin to Waterford probably would take the same or more or whatever. Yeah, probably more, like, well, obviously more. And So now an hour and a half. So you can see like the car there is the quicker option, the hassle-free option, the cheaper option. So like I just yeah, it really bad, like you know what I mean. It's just not no good. Like you know, transport in Dublin, you get around Dublin, no problem in the city. But when it's trying to get in and out of the city, you know, depending on where you're living, can be yeah. Just after saying that comment there, Roisin said, drive 2 hours out of Dublin and you're back in 1940, and it's the same as you come out of Dublin. It it degrades as such, you know, as you get further out. And then, like, I really pity people living up in places like Donegal. Donegal doesn't even have a rail link at all. The whole county is just, it used to have railways years ago, but not now. You know, everything as usual, everything is ripped up and, you know, not there's no forward thinking when it comes to stuff like that. And the thing I always find about railways is that it's better to keep what you have, even if you're not going to use it, because building it back afterwards is so expensive, especially when the land gets passed on to, like, you know, private owners and you have to start buying it back. They have a big issue now coming up around Bray, where the erosion is causing so much damage, you know, that they have to keep putting up rock armor and stuff. And, you know, within the next 50 years, I think they were saying recently, they're going to have to move the line in or have had it moved in, you know, within the next 50 years. And the thing is, just so much property, so many businesses, so much of a headache to try buy that. Like, I know they could do these compulsory purchase orders, but it would cost an absolute fortune to buy up all the land that they need to move that line inland. And they'd have to probably rebuild some stations and stuff, because like there's like Sandymount Station, Sea Point, most of those stations like are right on the sea. So yeah, and then not just there, you have even that problem further down between Greystones and Wicklow. So yeah, they're not investing enough. They're investing, but everything seems to be just kind of for show, if you know what I mean. Buying new trains and stuff, say, oh, you know, more trains, more capacity, but that's on existing things. There's people crying out in other places for rail links, and even that one between that I'm talking about. There's a rail link between Waterford and Rosslare. So like technically, I could leave from here, go down to Rosslare, and go across to Waterford on a train. Like that's, you could do that before, like years ago, but of course, you know. You can't do that now, like, which would make sense. Um, Dave said there, I think our issue is that not enough people would use trains to the airport. And I suppose, yeah, it kind of depends. Like, I'm kind of, I can't speak, you know, for New Zealand, but I'm looking at it from the point of view from here. Like, you know, would people use trains going to the airport here? And I think here in Ireland that they would. It'd be great to be able to just like, but see, this is the thing now that I'm just thinking about it. Probably if we even did have a rail link out there, there would be still some issue, you know, with capacity, because this metro link has been in the pipeline for a long time. So even if they build it out there, it's probably going to be, you know, at its capacity when it's built. So, you know, that's happened a few times here. Like with our children's hospital, it's like, what is it? I think they were saying it's like on track to be like one of the most expensive hospitals in the world, because it's gone so over budget, and that's, I suppose that's a discussion for another day. But and Brian is saying at least you folks have trains there. Is there no like rail service where you are? Um, Joe's in DC. Are you saying that the trains in DC smell? But there's the American railways are fairly interesting. The amount of freight that moves on American railways is impressive now. Like we could do a lot more here in Ireland in terms of freight to get trucks off the road. Now there are a few stores, big stores like Zara and stuff like that, were saying that they want to start transporting their stuff, because they have some sort of, you know, goals for sustainability. So they'd love to be able to transport stuff around Ireland by rail, but the infrastructure is just not there. And you know, hopefully, if more companies like that and all kind of start lobbying the government for that, like and the way the government's telling everybody, when it's all about the climate and protecting the environment, well, then they have to kind of buy into it themselves by investing in like kind of greener transport, like. And like, as much as I like greenways and stuff like that, in terms of they're a nice thing to have, and they're an asset to people, I just think we're very what would you say, I think we're very quick to run into turning everything into a greenway. Like, there's been a few projects around, I know one or two of them have been halted because they're kind of saying, actually, wait a minute, maybe we should hang on before we make a greenway there, because we may need this to restore this line in the future, such as happened with the Rosslare to Waterford line, which was slated to close many times. But we'll see, only time will tell. And Roisin, I think Roisin's saying there to have no trains where Roisin is. And Dave said it's because people throw up and pee in the corners. Yeah, that must have been, hey, Joe, that must have been Dave over on holidays there. Yeah, and that's the thing. There's issues with public transport a lot of the time, But as Roisin says there, the West is neglected over there, definitely. And that's the thing, I actually seen there that there's an island, one of the islands, I think it's off the coast of Donegal, only after getting fiber optic broadband for the first time, and it's so bad over there in terms of that, and like with people trying to run businesses and stuff like that too. I don't know, it's tough. So much for the national broadband scheme, I suppose. Yeah, it's really bad for, see, all the investment and all the focus gets focused on the East Coast, and then like I know like that I see that with a lot of people, that a lot of businesses tend to set up on the East Coast for the same reasons, with the better infrastructure and stuff like that. And it's sad that way, because like there's a lot of potential over in the West for many different things, like but the government need to invest more, definitely more in rail anyway, and maybe in like port facilities, because like they complain a lot about the Dublin port being at capacity and stuff like that, but they're not doing enough to try spread the load. Like, there's a port down at Rosslare there that could well be able to be expanded and stuff like that. And then do you not remember there, I think it could have been around the time of the recession, where they closed the port at Dunleary when the ferry used to come in there, which was ridiculous, because then everything, there was more pressure put on Dublin port. So yeah, it's weird. We're just catching up on some of the comments there. And then, yeah, I'm really far behind, because that's when I was talking about the hospital there. So don't mind me for a second as I just scan down there. Yeah, and the Children's Hospital, that is a real money pit, I suppose you could call it there, and it's where it's being built. It's basically like, the best way to explain it is they built it in the middle of the city on a tiny site, whereas they were offered a site out on the outskirts of the city with room for expansion in the future, and they could build a massive hospital. But now this is confined in there. There's no parking. Well, poor parking facilities. You're going to have everyone bottlenecking into the city, whereas that was outside the city, just off the M50. The site that were being offered for it and all, it's just ridiculous. Like, and it's going to be a great hospital. Like, don't get me wrong, the stuff that they're putting into it, the way it is, but it's the fact of where it is and the fact that when it's built, by the time it's built, they're going to need probably a bigger hospital, and there's nowhere to expand it to. So it's really bad. So yeah, I don't know, that it's way over budget. It's like, it's crazy. Like, I think it's literally probably one of the most expensive projects. I'd say it's probably one of the most expensive projects that's went on, definitely of recent years anyway. Joe saying this channel is so fun, and thanks, Joe. No, I'm glad you enjoy it. And sometimes I think, I'm just rambling on there, but at least you're enjoying the rambling anyway. And that'll show you how far back I am in the comments there. So I'm only trying to get I'm just trying to get down there. And Brian saying his bus service is also extremely lacking. At least out here in Western Canada, it's different around the major, and that's the thing. You see, all the focus is on the major. See, I suppose that's probably the same with all governments. I think no nobody lives anywhere but outside the city. Nobody lives outside the city, and if they do, sure, they must have their own car. But just one thing I want to say, actually, it's just popped into my head. Our Eamon Ryan here is leader of the. I think he's still the leader of the Green Party anyway. I can't remember, but he's always banging on about, obviously, because he's with the Green Party, he's always banging on about the environment and stuff like that. But the other day, I seen a comment where he was saying that electric cars probably won't work for a lot of people in cities, right? And I thought that was very bizarre. He said it's more suited like to rural people because they'll have a driveway somewhere to actually charge the vehicle. And I thought, yeah, that's an interesting point, because if you're living in a city in an apartment, a lot of people in city centre areas are living in apartments. They don't have the luxury of having a driveway or somewhere to plug in their car. Now, unless your apartment block has an underground car park, and the management's going to provide charging facilities for everyone, you're going to find it hard to charge your vehicle. Like, so that's not going to work for those people. And if it's only going to be, let's say they're saying, oh well, it'll work for rural people, then you have the whole thing of range and stuff like that coming into it. And he kind of just shot himself in the foot with that statement, I think, because they're trying to encourage people to get electric cars, but now he's kind of admitting that there's a flaw in the plan. It's not going to work for everyone, which it won't, because not everyone has the facility to put in a charger where they live. So yeah, it's just a thing there. Like, that's why they need to invest more, as I was saying, in other things as well, instead of kind of trying to go with this agenda of everything electric cars, like, but I don't think we're going to electric car our way out of climate change. There's other things we can do as well, like, without, like, the targets that are set, I just don't see them being achievable for like this switch over now, unless they're just going to blatantly force people out of their petrol cars, when the time comes. But we'll have to see. And Roisin saying we don't have fiber, Imagine only, and that's the thing. And I suppose isn't Imagine fairly big, like in places where there's no like I think they're one of the bigger companies, in those sort of areas and all. It's kind of only for them, I suppose. But it's bad, like, Yeah, and that's the thing. There was their focus on the wild Atlantic way there, and I know what you mean. It's anywhere along that way. It'll be, everything will be sorted so it looks good, like, and then on the outskirts of those areas, you'll be back in the Stone Age again. And I did have a choo moment there, Dave. And speaking of that, what I will do there, now that Dave has brought that up, just for a bit of a change there, I'll just give us one sec. So I'm gonna just put this clip up in the background there for the choo-choo moment while we're talking here, just for a change of scenery. Yeah, so I'll explain about this footage now in a second when I get down a bit. Oh, good. No, I thought I was way further behind on the comments there. Yeah, the range. See, that's the thing. Everyone has the fear of range with the electric cars, and that's the thing that I'd be worried about. Like, I know things are improving and all, but it's the range, and then it's the availability of chargers. You know, a lot of places only have one or two chargers. Some places you might be lucky and they might have four chargers, but you know, there's not enough infrastructure there. Yeah, so the thing about the train video is there was a rail tour on there recently called the Emerald Isle Explorer, which kind of went to it was a 10-day tour that went around Ireland. They went to a number of different cities. They were in Galway, they were down in Killarney, they were in Wexford, Kilkenny, a few other places like that. And it just happened to pass through my town and they stopped here for water. So I decided to go down and have a look. So I went over and done a bit of, yeah, just took a bit of footage of it while it was down there. I'll put the sound on and all there when it's about to leave. But I was down there for a little while looking at it. It was here for a while, and that was on the last day of it. And then they headed back to Dublin. But it was a fairly expensive tour. Now accommodation and all is included. You would have stayed in a hotel in the different cities, and there would have been different activities and stuff, and meals provided and all. But I think it was pushing on like $4,000 US sort of for that. There was I think there was a lot of advertising in the US of this. There's a group in the States that I'm not 100% sure what they do, but I think they're to do with preserving an old locomotive, and they were kind of helping to organize this tour with some other people. So yeah, it would have been a nice tour to go on if you had the money to go on it, I suppose. But yeah, stopped off in my town for a little while, as you can see here, for to take on some water. People got out, they had a bit of a photo op at the front and stuff like that. This was just before it was going to leave again and head off to Dublin. And it was a nice day that day. So it did, like, there was a small shower, and you can see the sky there. It's a bit overcast, but other than that, it was a nice day. But yeah, and Brian said he'd love to see Ireland one day, and I was just saying that'd be a great way to see Ireland if you were able to go on something like that. Now there are other rail tours that are much cheaper than that, like that do for, like, you know, it's only a 1 day thing. It, like, wouldn't even be the full day. It might be from, you know, Dublin to Wexford or something like that. The Railway Preservation Society of Ireland usually run them. And they're fairly good, and they usually have like a bar on the train. That train there would one of those carriages that have a bar in it where they'd be serving, you know, you get a pints of Guinness, there'd be pints of lager. There wouldn't be a massive selection like in a pub, but they'd have, you know, the kind of the staples, and you get a bit of food on it, like sandwiches and crisps and stuff like that. But I know this particular tour here was a bit fancier, so, you know, that probably would have had better food than just Sambo's, you know. But yeah, interesting. And that steam locomotive that's there, this was its first run. Well, one of its first runs since yeah, it only had a run there a couple of months ago, which would have been its first run, but this would have been its first time here. Definitely since like the 60s or something like that. So that was built in 1909, and it was on display outside the railway station in Dundalk for years until the Railway Preservation Society got it and restored it to working order. And and now it's running again. So yeah, good. And it's kind of it's nice to have organizations like that that are still kind of keeping a bit of history alive with this and a number of other locomotives that they have, and then having rail tours, because it's good to it keeps people interested, and so I suppose it's a bit of excitement, because any of the towns that they stop in, you can see there's a great buzz, and people going down to have a look and all. Now this, unfortunately for like kids and all that, this here was in the middle of the daytime. Now I'm just gonna stop the clip there, because this is just before she was going to head off, and I can just put the sound on. But yeah, unfortunately for all the kids, they would have been in school, and also would be able to bring them down. Sometimes they're at weekends, so the parents could bring the kids down. So I'm just gonna play the sound on this. Hopefully you guys can hear it. What I'll do is I'm just going to go in and put it back up again, just to make sure the audio is sharing. I'm sorry if it's a bit loud, so warning there, because there'll be hissing off it if you. So hopefully you do hear the sound, but it might come on a bit loud at the start here. So now, guys, we've had a proper choo-choo moment there now. Yeah, so I just thought that was interesting there. I had that clip there. So yeah, I just thought I'd throw it up. And as Patrick says, yeah, Greta Thunberg is probably having some many sleepless nights after watching that video. But yeah, I can't imagine what it would have been like. Like, you can see the amount of, like, a lot of that's just steam there or whatever, but I can imagine what it was like back in the day when every train was a steam train, and the smog in the air. I can imagine. So they're very nice machines to look at, a great piece of engineering, but obviously not good for the environment. So I'm just catching back up on the comments there again. Joe was saying, I want to see those misty coasts and the friendly people and those beautiful towns and friendly people. And yeah, and see, that's the thing with Ireland as well. Like, you could go to the like the main areas and all, but then if you kind of go off the beaten track a bit to some of the smaller towns and villages and stuff like that, you can find a lot of interesting stuff, because there's you have your main attractions that are well publicized or whatever, but there's a lot of little hidden gems, I suppose, around the place, that if you kind of explored around. And then, of course, yeah, there would be a lot of people, especially in some of the smaller places. You would get a friendly people, and there's a lot of local people are only more than happy to kind of talk about their town or whatever. But and that's the thing as well, when I do some of those streams out and about, hopefully we can get the quality a bit better than it has been. So but kind of just to show people something different or whatever. But Roisin saying there, newsflash, Ireland is going to become the first country to put health warnings on alcohol. Irony. Well, I haven't heard about that, but that is ironic, considering, um, I know we've been taking steps towards stuff like that, but that's a new one now, and very ironic because, you know, especially with the reputation, especially being the first country to do it. You know what I mean? Like we usually were following suit after someone else. Brian saying he wants to go to Rory Fest. That's a lot of irony. Health warning on booze, Dave saying. And then hello to Jessica, who's joining us. I just seen her comment there now. Jessica saying, do you know how expensive it is to replace the batteries? You aren't saving the environment with an electric car. What are you using to create the electricity to charge the batteries? And the thing is, that's the thing with the electric cars. You have to kind of look at the bigger picture. With the terms of, yeah, the batteries are fairly expensive. Now I know it'll probably say like, down the road it'll probably get better in terms of pricing, like, but I know there are some cars, even I think there's some agreement. I don't know if it's Renault cars, but there was something where you don't actually own the battery, you're only hiring it or something. There's some weird thing like that. I don't know, and like they'd replace it, but I'm not sure. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's very, very expensive for stuff like that. And then the other thing I've seen about the batteries is when there's like an accident and there's a fire. I've seen an awful lot of stuff where it takes an awful long time to put out the fires. I know like petrol fires and all fairly dangerous as well, but some of these battery fires are just as dangerous. And then the thing we're talking about is the mining of the metals that goes into these into the batteries and stuff like that. Obviously, there's going to be an increased demand for that, and then increased mining. And then we've probably all seen those horror stories from places about children working in mines and all. Now I know a lot of these companies say, "Oh, we don't buy our batteries, from places that are, have child labor and all." But there are children working in those mines. It's been well documented, and not in them all, I'm saying, but in some of them, and like that metal is being sold to someone, so it's in batteries somewhere, like so and then that's the thing is like we're still burning fossil fuels in order to, if there's a wind turbine turning somewhere in the breeze and that's charging your car, well, that's green energy or whatever, and then you're driving your car or whatever. But if there's coal being burnt or oil being burnt somewhere and your car is being charged off that, well then it's kind of defeating the purpose. I know to say, oh well, you're not polluting then, but you have to burn fossil fuels to save someone from using fossil fuels. I actually seen a clip, and I think it was just one of those fake setup clips or whatever, but it was one of this guy. He was like, it was definitely, sorry, actually it was definitely set up, now that I think of it. There's this guy on the side of the road, and it just shows the irony of the whole situation. There's a guy on the side of the road broke down in a Tesla, like, and these people pull in behind him and say, "Hey, do you need a hand there?" And he's like, "Yeah, I need some gas." And they're like, "Is that not a Tesla?" And he's like, "Yeah." And they're like, "But what do you need gas for?" And he's like, "To get the car started." And they're like, "But it uses electricity." And he's like, "Yeah, but I can't get it to a charger." So he opens the boot and whips out a petrol generator, like, from the boot, and says, "I put the gas in there." And then he had a charger lead coming from the generator that he could plug into the Tesla and charge it from the generator. And he was just showing, it just shows the irony of the fact that, if you did break down in the middle of nowhere, you'd either have to be towed somewhere or you get a generator, and do something like that. But it just does show that, probably not quite there yet for the way they're talking about it. Like, Patrick Turner saying America already puts health warnings on beer. I didn't know that, and I know the only health warning I've seen on beer here is that little one, of the pregnant lady with a little like no sign going through it. It's like obviously don't drink while you're pregnant, like, and it might even say like, I'm not sure. I don't know if some of them actually say don't like operate machine. I don't have to actually say that, but just I've definitely seen the little symbol, with the not to drink when you're pregnant or whatever. But yeah, Rosie's just saying. I just after saying that there, I'm blind. Um, and Dave saying an Irish passport hasn't been of any use as they don't let you get on a plane drunk. Oh yeah, and Rosie says, yeah, you have to drink on the plane. Yeah, then they let you off. Then they have to land somewhere where you weren't actually going to and escort you off the plane. Ooh, Darkly Noon saying 20,000 for a battery replacement. That's nearly like another car. You know what I mean? You know, it's like for a petrol car, like so, like there's small petrol cars you could get for like 20,000 brand new. You know what I mean, or whatever. But or you get a really really decent probably secondhand car. But yeah, that's the thing I see, and that's the barrier to entry. I was watching a video from a guy today that were talking about they were extending. Don't really understand it. Haven't really like went down the rabbit hole of it, but there's some like new emission zone or they're extending an emission zone in London or something like that. I don't know if they're backtracking on that because there's been an uproar over it, but um, it's the guy that I was watching a video that was talking about I think his channel's called Jeff Buys Cars. I think he was talking about it saying that it does seem like a push to get people out of cars. It's expensive to get into an electric car at the moment in terms of you have to buy the car, then you have to make sure you have like infrastructure at home to charge it, if you have facilities to do that. And then obviously like people are saying there, it's expensive to replace batteries and stuff like that or whatever. Um, like it he was saying it does seem like there's a push to make it as expensive as possible. Like if you don't have money, you can't drive. Basically, they're gonna kind of make it a barrier to entry of you know you can't have a little like crappy runaround car and be getting you by. Like you have to have a new car, an electric car, and it's it's not good. Like I just think there's a big rush into this, and I don't. We're not there. Like, and Dave's saying there, um, as for electric batteries in cars, the fire service here just leave them to burn as they can't put it out. There is a foam they can use, but they can't let that run into the water table. Yeah, you see, that's the thing. It depends. I suppose, Dave, in that situation, it probably depends on where the car is. Do you know if it's an area where they can put the foam on it and contain it, or it's not going to run into the water table? And see, that's the thing with those. Even you see with those electric scooters, I've seen loads of videos of those in houses, where people have them charging, and when the batteries start exploding, like they just keep exploding. It's yeah, it's mad. Like I actually watched a video of I don't know if any of you guys ever watch. There's a channel out there. They does videos all on China. There's two guys that does it. One guy's called Serpent ZA, and the other guy is Sea Milk, and they do videos. They were going around China on motorbikes, and to talk all about China and about the Chinese government and stuff like that. But what I found interesting is they done a video only recently on like China's flagship, their main big company that produces electric cars over there. They were just showing you the amount of them that were actually going on fire, and they had loads of cool clips in the video of these car fires all over the place. And they're mainly the same model of car, but now obviously I'm not saying like Teslas are obviously built to a higher standard than some of the other, and then some of the other electric cars that are coming, Volkswagen have some electric cars and stuff like that. But I know some of these Chinese cars are probably the build quality probably isn't the best, and maybe that's why. But it's just interesting to see how ferocious those fires can be, when they start going. Um, Yeah, right. Ryanair isn't really an aircraft. Ryanair is an experience. Like when the last time that I went on holidays, I made it my business not to fly on Ryanair. I just don't like Ryanair, and I don't have anything against anyone that use Ryanair. Whatever works for whoever, like, you know what I mean. But I have a dislike for Ryanair. I prefer Aer Lingus if I can. Um, but just a lot of bad stuff about Ryanair I've heard, and stuff over the years and all. And then I remember being on a couple of Ryanair flights before, and they weren't the greatest. Like, but you know, and I'm not really a big fan of Michael O'Leary either. He annoys me sometimes. I know a lot of people say, I've heard that for, oh, Michael O'Leary was running the country. I'll be some place and all that. But I'm thinking, if Michael O'Leary was running the country, nobody would have nothing, to be honest with you, because he was like, he's critical of everything that anybody gets. Like, I suppose, like, I know there's probably people on unemployment that could work, that won't work, but we're not going to get into that debate. But I'm just saying, he's the sort of person that would be like, there should be no unemployment for anybody. Totally run the country like the airline, like, no, nothing, nobody gets nothing for nothing, like. But and Russia saying, I use Ryanair Shannon to Edinburgh under 20 euro. And see, that's the thing with Ryanair, they're so cheap because they've gone so big, I suppose. I think they are like up there with like one of the biggest airlines in Europe now. Definitely in terms of like fleet size and all that. And then now they've had another order for a lot of aircraft recently. They've agreed with Boeing. And of course, there's been slammed all over the place then, saying, oh, how can Ryanair go? I think they're buying like 300 planes over, so many years. And they're saying, how can they do that with, the environment and all? They're being slammed that way. But, your man doesn't care anyways. Go and buy his planes. Rosie, I like to live dangerously. And then Dave saying, I think the General Watch doesn't like Ryanair because he can't understand them. I can't understand Ryanair. Yeah, that's right, Rosie. Michael was saying standing room only for €1, and charge for the jacks. That's right, charge for the toilets. Like, imagine that. Like, you're on your flight there to Lanzarote, and you've just taken off from Dublin Airport, and you need to go, but you may hold it. You may hold it till you get to Spain, till you get to Lanzarote. That's if you don't want to fork out for the jacks, like, and God forbid somebody, like, that's very discriminatory against people. Like, this could be somebody that has a medical condition that they need to use the toilet all the time. Do you know what I mean? And are you going to charge them for that? Oh, but then, of course, like, they'll probably say, oh, you can be exempt from that, but you just have to tell us. Yeah, of course. Like, people want to go up and tell people all their, personal details to some, stranger stewardess or whatever, like, So I just don't get that. And then the standing room as well, that was so bizarre. Like, how can you have people standing on planes? Just put them in like it's a cattle wagon. Just ram them in, get them in. And that's the thing. Like, I think the EU definitely put the brakes on that talk, so that wouldn't be allowed. Definitely just ridiculous. It's bad enough standing on a bus. I stood on the Lewis recently when I was coming back from me. Or not the Lewis, it was a bus, sorry. Stood on the bus coming back from my friend's house in Dublin there recently. Was getting the Dublin bus back to the other bus because, you have to like change a million times. So you was getting the other bus, and I was standing on it. I think the bus jerks and all that. You're falling around all over the place. Wouldn't like a plane landing when you're trying to stand. Brace for landing. You get thrown around the plane. Yeah, you wanted to charge more. Yeah, for people that were heavier. I actually seen an article recently where some woman was weighed on a baggage scales at an airport because they were trying to say she was too heavy to fly or something. There was outrage over that. recently. Joe saying some years ago I had to fly back to Boston because of the death of a younger friend, and the guy in the seat next to me complained that he wanted to stretch out and that I ruined it. See that's ridiculous. Like, and here's the thing, right? Um, people like that. So you've like paid for your seat, they've paid for theirs, and they just kind of want to take over the space as such. And obviously, like you're coming back from you were saying, yeah, you were flying back to Boston, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you're like, that's the thing. People don't know what other people are going through, and that's the thing. He was just thinking about himself there. I want to stretch out, but you're going to a funeral, like, but not good. Like, I don't like that thing either, where you have a seat on the plane, and then people are demanding. Like, it's different if that's their seat that they've booked. Like, I understand that. But these people are like, oh, well, I want to sit there. Like, people that don't bother to. Now, I understand sometimes when maybe a family might say to someone, would you mind if we sat together? Okay, fair enough. But if the person says no, I agree with them because they may book that seat or whatever. But, it's drama when you fly sometimes, I suppose, in those situations. Patrick Turner saying, I saw a Spirit Airways plane that had no windows. It must be like flying in an MRI cylinder. No damn way. Yeah, I can't imagine what that would be like. You can't even see what's going on. Imagine that you wouldn't even be able to see what's going on outside. And they're like, you want the view out the window? Okay, well, we're going to charge you for that. That'll be on Ryanair. You can't open the little thing on the window. It's like padlocked or something until you tap your card. Crazy, like. That's the thing. I seen something. This is another thing that really annoyed me, and I might actually, because it was that long ago. I looked into it. I don't remember the whole story, and I kind of don't want to muddle it up. But it was a whole scam with the scratch cards. So Ryanair were giving these scratch cards. Well, not giving them, and they don't give anything away. They were selling scratch cards. Now they were saying that so much money went to charity or whatever, and that there was prize of whatever it was. Like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure it was some high prize money anyway. But what they weren't telling you is, so you were under the impression that this is kind of the gist of it. I'll find out. I'll look back into it again for another stream, and I kind of go into it a bit more because it is interesting. But something along the lines of the fact that they were saying that there was a certain amount of prize money up for grabs. So you were under the impression that you bought this scratch card, scratched it, and then potentially, like, if you won, you would get that money. But if you won on the scratch card, you were then invited to a draw, I suppose, where now I could be wrong here. I think it was, if you won, your ticket was put into a draw, and then if you were drawn out, you got to go to some place, obviously Ryanair office probably, and you got to pick an envelope, and in the envelope, now I think there was 5 envelopes. I want to say 5 envelopes? I think that's what I remember. There's 5 envelopes you can choose from, and one of them has that actual money that was advertised, that you thought you were going to win. Like, you thought you'd won on the plane when you scratched the ticket, but now you've realized there's this whole rigmarole. And it was something like, and I don't know if the other envelopes were, I can't remember now if the other envelopes were like empty and you got nothing, or if it was actually like there was lesser money or lesser prizes, but whatever. Anyway, it turned out to be dishonest, whatever was going on. It wasn't very transparent, like, but I think they've cleaned up on that situation. But I just, when I'm hearing stories like that, I just don't trust that sort of thing, but see, as well, the thing with Michael O'Leary too is, I think he comes out with a lot of these statements to be sensational. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not stupid. Like, he knows that that'd never fly. Pardon the pun. We're full of puns here all the time. But he knows that that'd never, like. I was just about to say another one there. I was just about to say that he knows that'd never get off the ground. Oh, I'm sorry. It's late. That's why this is happening. I'm malfunctioning here. But yeah, he knew that would never happen because he's not stupid, like, but I think he said it, to sensationalize, to be out there, like, because every time he says something like that, he's all in the press, like, and that obviously benefits him somehow, obviously, like, but even though a lot of the time it is negative because that's going to be met with negativity no matter what. Nobody's going to be like, yeah, Michael, great idea. Standing on flights gonna end well. Do you know what I mean? Imagine that, like, you're standing on your flight, like, you're heading over for a quick weekend, to London or something, and you're standing on your Ryanair flight and they're giving out the coffee, you hit a bit of turbulence and you're standing up, scalding everybody, because you're standing, like, that no, that's not happening. Yeah, Patrick, Aer Lingus still around. It was actually in that clip at the start of the video. Oh, well, yeah, it's not. It's live. Sorry, that's the tiredness kicking in there. Right at the start of this, at the intro, there was a little clip with like different stuff happening, and there was Aer Lingus playing in that. Yeah, Aer Lingus still on the go. Yeah, still there. I hope they never change the logo. I like that shamrock on the planes. Like, I hope that, because there's a lot of places are dabbling with logos and stuff all the time. And you have these classic logos that you always remember, and then they go and change them. Even with like some of the football teams, you've seen that, like, some of the teams in England, like, over the years have changed their crest. And when you get used to one crest or one logo and then to change it, it's hard to adapt. Like, one I see there, and this is another thing I see money being wasted no end on, is when government bodies here want to change their logo, right? Like, for example, on the railways went through a number of logo changes over the years, and some of them more creative than others. My favorite would have been one that was not the current one, the one before that. But I don't know if there's actually but I just wanted to make a point about this logo thing, right? And then make it the way it's a waste of money. It just sounded way it's a waste of money. I'm trying to see, is there like a yeah, so like we'll have a look here now. I'll be able to pop something up on the screen. Just to give an example here. So here we have a lot of Irish Railway logos, right? So this one here, this thing here, is the current one, which I'm not a fan of, right? This one here would be my more favorite one. The I is for Ironrod and E for Aaron, and it's kind of, I like that design. This was an older one, which is kind of, I don't know if you guys can see what one I'm pointing at. Or just over here, it should be kind of coming up on the screen. This one, I'll actually click into it over here. This one here is creative in the fact that the I and the R is Irish Rail, or but this is a set of railway points. So like that's creative, and I like this one here. This one here is my favorite, but I don't like this new one here. It's kind of like, it reminds me of another logo. I think it's the logo in the Netherlands on the railways, but whatever. Anyway, but the point I'm trying to make is going off on a tangent about logos. But the point I'm trying to make about the logo is every time they change these logos, it's not like me just sitting here going, oh, I think I'll change the logo of the Degenerate watch and then, doctoring up something in an hour or so or whatever. Like, when they go to change the logo, they have to commission some company to do it, and it's obviously, it basically, it's let's waste as much money as we can designing a logo. And I'm not trying to rubbish the efforts of people that designed these logos, or the person that designed that logo. But what I'm trying to say is that the money that is spent on redoing these logos is absolutely insane. You know what I mean? Like there is talented people out there that would not charge the amount of money that's being charged. Now, I don't know. I might be able to find something here. Uh, I might be able to find something here to do with that. Yeah, oh, yeah. Here's one. Here's one. Now, like this is exactly what I'm talking about, right? Um, I'm sorry, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent about logos here. It's just after coming to me, right? So this is from back in 2013, right? It says loss making. See this thing, loss making, right? Loss making, earn not earn. I know this a few years ago, but I believe me, they're still loss making. Uh, Loss making, earn not earn has defended the cost and necessity. Necessity. The logo was a necessity, apparently, of its new Irish rail rebranding at a time when the central heating systems at two of its biggest stations are not working. Now caveat, this is from 2013. Now, judging by the crack here in this country, those heating systems are probably still not working, and they probably have a bonfire burning in the lobby, most likely. So it says the underfloor heating at both Houston Station and Connolly Station, the two main stations in Dublin, you know, come on now, the two terminus stations, for most trips into Dublin are out of commission. A spokesman said their operating life had expired. Expired. Like surely, when something's expiring, it's coming to an expiry. Like, when they should know the lifespan of these things, and they should be maintained. Like, it, can that excuse? I'm sorry. Can that excuse fly in the catering side of things? Like, if you were on the catering trolley came down and you got your sandwich, and you're about to tuck into it, and it's moldy, and you're looking at it and you're saying, hang on a minute. And you call the guy and said, this sandwich is moldy. And he said, no, 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 it's not. He says, it's not moldy. It's not wrong with it. Its operating life has expired. And you're like, all right. So, like, will I eat it then? And they're like, yeah, but we are not liable for what happens after that. We're just telling you that is expired. The same as the heating, But it says this. So anyway, I'll go on there. The systems were installed in the mid-90s during a major renovation program at both Northside and Southside stations. Okay, so that was many moons ago. But to replace the existing systems would mean ripping up the concourse flooring to replace the worn-out systems. So basically what they're saying is, right, in order for us to fix the broken problem, we'd actually have to like go to the thing that's broken and take it out and repair it or replace it. And like, like we can't be doing that. Like, we have a railway to run here. You know what I mean? That's what they're basically saying there. Like, railway to run here. Like, so anyway, says we did not turn off the heating to save money. It was simply that they are not working as they should. This is in the Irish Independent. This is a national newspaper. This is not satire. This sounds like satire. Like, see, you can't write what goes on in this country sometimes. Do you know what I mean? It actually happens, So you couldn't write it because it actually happens, But it says we will be looking this year to find a cost-effective way of improving or rectifying the problem. Well, that's nice. They're going to look into it. They're looking this year. That's not words of confidence. I'm looking at getting a new car. I'm looking at moving house. Doesn't mean you're actually going to do it. I'm I'm looking at it, like, you know what I mean. They're probably still looking at it up there, and it's still broken probably. But it says trends, like, it gets better. I haven't read this article. Like, this just gets better. It says train stations by their nature are wind tunnels and hard to heat in a cost-effective manner, said the spokesperson Barry Kenny, who's been the spokesperson for as long as rail travel has existed, by the sounds of it, because Barry's always coming up in the news. You know, poor old Barry has to come out and defend this nonsense all the time. And I don't, I think poor Barry's just been held captive by these people now at this stage. But by their nature, they're wind tunnels and hard to heat. Well, you know, my rail station like has a building, you know, that you could heat inside. That's not a wind tunnel. Outside on the platform is not covered. That's a wind tunnel. Now Houston has a canopy. Wind tunnel. Yeah, you could say a wind tunnel. Okay, and Conley, wind tunnel, right? But the heating systems were put in before when there were wind tunnels, and they're still wind tunnels, according to you, right? But the thing is broken. Like you have to fix it. You can't just keep making excuses. Like, but anyway, right? Get to this logo thing, right? It says the problem has emerged as a cash-strapped company rolls out a new logo. Mr. Kenny declined to give an exact cost of the rebranding, but said it was a low five-figure sum. Now, now, if you weren't embarrassed by the figure, right, you'd be coming straight out with it, right? But declining, and then even giving us the little teaser, low five-figure sum. The contract was awarded after a competitive tender. What that means is that some lad's nephew, you know, works from the board. Some lad from the board's nephew, uh, his new logo company is just after getting out of our college there, and he's trying to make his way. But he probably got the tender, competitive tender there. Now I joke about that. I don't actually know. Disclaimer: I don't actually know if that actually happened, but I'm only saying like it wouldn't surprise me with what's going on here. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm off on a tangent there. I didn't say. Thanks for the super chat there, Joe. Really appreciate it. Thanks very much, and thanks for your earlier one in the premiere as well. It really goes towards keeping us going here, and as well, things will be going towards adopting our wolf friends next month as well. So thanks very much for that, Joe. Really appreciate it. I just think you could almost say Houston, we have a problem. You could say that Houston, we have a problem. But yeah, it's kind of, you wouldn't be surprised with these tenders. Anyways, as I was saying there, if it is some friend of a family or friend of a friend and all this carry on that's going on. But anyway, a low five-figure sum, ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like they're saying low, but what's low? Like when you're throwing money hand over fist, it says the logo is being rolled out when current signage needs to be replaced. Of course, market research showed there was confusion. I can't believe this. There was confusion among customers over the separate brands currently in operation: Intercity, Dart, and Commuter. No, there's not, because Intercity, right, is what it says on the tin. It's trains traveling between different cities, or large towns, right? Dart is Dublin Area Rapid Transit, which is the Dart service around Dublin. I'm pretty sure Dublin people are familiar with that, and people from outside Dublin, I'm pretty sure they have come to grips with the fact that Dart is not the same as the other services. I don't think there's confusion there, Barry. And Commuter is from the commuter towns in, like, you have your service maybe from Maynooth into Dublin, the service from like Gorey up to Dublin, these little commuter services. Like there's no confusion. Like there's one company in this country that runs the rail. Like, so when you go on, it's just not like you're saying, I'm confused. There's that many different companies operating here, and then Barry has to get off the train and say, oh no, fear not. It's just brands, like, or whatever. Like there was no confusion. There was never confusion. Nobody asked for any of this, right? So I said now the Intercity and Commuter logo or trains will have the new Ironrod Airn Irish Rail sign and logo, though Dart will retain its distinctive livery and signage with the addition of the new logo to show it is part of the group. Like, that's like, I'm speechless at what was said there. Like the fact that people weren't confused. Like, that's just a way of defending right? So he's saying it'll be a soft rollout. Well, if people are confused, right? I'm sorry, I'm only criticizing Barry here. I'm not attacking Barry personally here. I'm just saying, as the spokesman, Barry, I'm just saying a soft rollout. Well, I tell you, people are a bit soft for buying this sort of nonsense that you're trying to tell us here. It'd be better to have a hard rollout, Barry, if people were confused about it. Hard rollouts so people just hit people in the face with it the second they come into the station, so that they've no doubts about it. What's happening here? Trains will only be repainted with the new logo as part of the maintenance cycle, which makes sense. You can't haul everything in at the one time. That's about the only thing that's made sense so far. The reason why we introduced it in January is because the new timetables were coming into operation and new posters had to be put up. There will be no big bang. Okay, don't know what he was trying to say there. There'll be no big bang. It won't be coming in. But I thought you were trying to put away the confusion, put the confusion to rest. Either that or he's trying to just get his own personal opinion about the Big Bang theory in there. There will be no Big Bang. Okay, that's grand. But anyway, right. So what I'm saying to you, so they're going out to spend 5 figures on logos, but they lost 21 million the year previous. You know what I mean? It says Irish Rail lost 21 million last year, but is in the process of hiring consultants to find ways of returning to profit by 2016, which was a failure. Of course, we're now in 2023, and I'm pretty sure they're still at a loss. It's always loss making, hard to make a profit when you're throwing money away at logo rebranding. But think about it this way. They've lost 21 million, right? And they're in the process of hiring consultants. Hiring consultants, that sounds expensive. So, see, the conversations going on is we're losing money. How can we stop losing money? Let's spend more of the money that we don't have to spend to hire people to tell us how we're not spending the money properly. And then when they tell us that, we can go look for more money. Then we can be careful with that money. I think that's the plan there. But so now I know that this article's from back in 2013. Remember, I said that already, but I'm just saying. So this was the month previous back then. It said the company had 21 surplus train carriages worth some 44 million sitting idle. Right. Worse now, there's a lot of locomotives up there sitting idle as well, all ravaged for parts. For other locomotives. So that's waste. That's another waste of money, another travesty. Carriages were part of a consignment of 51 carriages delivered to Irish Rail just as the recession hit in 2008. And of course, rather than maintain the things, get lads to go out, clean them, look after them, left to rot, no good to anybody now. It says over the past 5 years, so that was, from 2008, passenger numbers have fallen and there's no need for the extra carriages that were recommended by international consultants. Shot themselves in the foot. We're in the process of hiring consultants to find ways to return to profit, yet they just said that passenger numbers have fallen and there was no need for extra carriages that were recommended by consultants. So the consultants were wrong before. Now, I know they could say the recession hit. So, the consultants have their backs covered. They're saying, oh, well, we couldn't predict the recession, But nothing works out with these consultants. To bring in people to consult, does nobody at the company have a brain? Why did I have to hire consultants for everything? They're constantly consulting and not actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. But yeah, sorry, I just had a mad rant there. So thanks for for sticking with me there, people. But yeah, but that's crazy. That's what I'm saying. That's the wastage. I knew, and then when I brought that up, I knew there was an article I had seen somewhere before about that, and they're defending that, and that was this rebrand, the one that I was saying, the one I don't like now, and even look at it, to spend 5 figures, the logo they had before that was better. I don't know why they have to rebrand there was no confusion. Like, that's what I don't get. There was no confusion. It wasn't like, at the airport, the way there's so many different airlines, if they were all painted the same, maybe there's confusion there, but like, there's one company running the railway. It's the same as, like, you have Bus Éireann running a lot of the bus services. I know there's other operators, like you have Wexford Bus down kind of this area that's running stuff and all that, but there's no confusion. I think that was a lame duck excuse just to just to defend the spending of money, But that's thing, and there was another thing with that as well years ago, where there was an audit when like a lot of audits came up. The fact that contractors had been putting in like invoices for things that weren't actually happening. So like when they were doing some project, I can't remember, I think it was at Tara Street Station or something, they were doing some big engineering works at one of the stations. Oh no, do you know what it was? It was actually Grand Canal Dock. When they were building that station at Grand Canal Dock, there was some company being paid to remove all the spoil, from the site when they were digging it out, and they were to dump it on a site somewhere else on the other side of the city. And basically whatever the story was, is this company was saying they were removing X amount of tonnage when they were really only removing, a lesser amount, but they were still charging the company. And of course, there was no oversight, it was just invoice comes in, invoice gets paid, nobody asks any questions. And this was going on for a long time. And then I think it was when somebody realized, I think that spoil that they were going to use it for somewhere else, and judging by the invoices that they had got, I presume this is the story, judging by the invoices they got, they were supposed to have X amount of spoil at that area, and then it wasn't enough to complete another job, so they're like, oh, that's not right. And then I think there was an audit done, they realized that they were being taken for a ride, and that was going on all over the place. Like, so you can imagine, like, you can't even get things like that in order. No wonder it's a loss maker. But fire. Patrick Turner saying, just fire up the printing presses. that'd be handy. But that's what they do most of the time, isn't it? When there's when they need money to just fire up the printing presses. So you learn something new every day. I've just after noticing there that I never noticed this before, and this, it actually saves those other comments so I don't miss them. That's handy. Yeah, so so that was a rant about logos, wherever that came out of. I don't even know how we got onto that. And then the thing that I started ranting about was the whole Disneyland thing. So there was something else there. Now, if Dave's still there, he'll know I'm having a slight choo-choo moment here. But maybe I'll get away undetected. I'm just trying to find something I had here. And Joe was just asking me earlier on there about Memorial Day, and did we celebrate that over here or anything? And I was saying that we don't actually celebrate it here, but I know a lot of people over in the States will be celebrating. So anybody that's watching there, if you have any plans for Memorial Day, I know Joe was saying that he has the Monday off work. Yeah, do let us know in the comments there while I try to find what I'm looking for here. Stupidly, there is 2 folders with the same name here, and I they're both live, called live stream, so I was trying to find the correct one. Yeah, and as I said, in that other thing, in the other live stream that I'm going to do about the Regency hotel shooting and all that, obviously in that we get time, I will be looking at some clips as well. So that's what I was going to do is have a look at a clip or two before I head on to my labba. And a labba is a bed in Irish. But I'm just trying to find this clip that I was looking for. Did anybody actually see that clip that's been going around of the guy that just saying now, Dave, it was noticed. I didn't get away undetected there. The cat has decided that he needs cuddles. Oh well, you can't deny the cat some cuddles, Dave. And obviously, I don't want you getting scratched up there for lack of cuddles. Um, and Brian is saying, on that note, I need to head out. Thanks for the chat. All the best to y'all. And thanks for coming by, Brian. And I hope you have a good day or night. I'm not quite sure because it's so late here. So I'm not quite sure what time you're at there. But I hope for the rest of your day or night or evening, you have a good one. And I hope to see you on another live stream here, which I hope to be having very soon as well. And as I was saying too, I'm hoping to do these more as well after the premieres. So, oh yeah, that's what I was saying there about that clip. Now I'll get that up. Yeah, did anybody see that clip of the delivery guy? I'm just gonna get that up here. I thought it was a very interesting one. Just gonna pop it up on the screen. That's very small. Let me see, can I get that any bigger? Don't know if I can actually zoom in on this. I'll play it anyway. Hopefully you guys will be able to see that. If not, what I'll do is I'll try actually put it into this. Maybe it'll come up. Just 1 second there. I might be able to. But anyway, I'll play this clip here and see, do we see it? Because I know if I go into the full screen there. Oh no, sorry. I didn't know how to keep it in the window there for me. I thought it would actually just go full screen. That's good. I'm not good at tech in here, but yeah, this is basically a delivery driver, and this is actually I'll just play the clip. And I think Joe is heading off there. If you are heading off, Joe, it's nice to see you, and I hope to see you on the next stream as well. And thanks very much for the super chats as well. I do appreciate it, and hope you have a good weekend as well. Yeah, Patrick, it's the police chasing Pete's guy. I just thought it was so cool, like the way it just happened. Like this pursuit comes by, and he's a real hero. Um, and then Joe Fitz is saying many countries do celebrate, and then Joe Bailey's there saying as well. Yes, for some of us, well, for me, I remember all the fellows I have lost due to combat, and others when they come back home. Well, maybe now, when's that? That's in a couple of days' time, isn't it? It's the 29th of May. Maybe we could, actually try do some sort of a stream that night or something. Kind of have a think about what we could do, but yeah, something to do with like I don't know, like military or something like that. Maybe you could even like I don't know, whatever you guys think. If you have any suggestions there of something we could kind of do in a live stream, so we could look at or even talk about or whatever. Um, Yeah, that would be a good one for maybe kind of do something Memorial Day, like at that evening here. I could kind of maybe do a little stream or something if people are around and whatever. Yeah, we'll kind of see what we can do then. Um, yeah, and thank you for coming there, Joe, as well. Yeah, so I'm just gonna pop this clip on there. Turn the sound up 'cause I think it's a bit loud there.
Oh! Oh, shit! Oh, that's a high-speed chase. Yeah. That's a high-speed chase. Yeah, you better hit my fucking car, dude. Oh my God, Jaeger! Oh my God, Jaeger! There's a high-speed chase on my lap! No! Quick, stop! Oh, yeah. You fucking idiot! Get on the fucking ground! Fucking idiot! Get the fuck on the ground! Fucking
Yeah, so there the guy is. Yeah, like he's just in the right place at the right time there. But fair play to him for like kind of seeing the opportunity and taking your man out. It was a good takedown too. And saved the police having to go chasing after him, and could have potentially saved that guy from getting hurt because I suppose he kept running and tried to pull out something on the police. It could have ended badly for him. So yeah, maybe the delivery guy did him a favor. And look at that as well. What an expert as well. He did not drop the pizza. That pizza is still perfect. You know what I mean? Like, so he definitely deserves a tip anyway. At the door, I have to say. But yeah, when I seen that clip there, it was going around recently. I'm not sure if it's a recent clip or it's an old clip or whatever, but I only seen it recently there, and yeah, I thought it was very good. He was just in the right place at the right time there. Very interesting, but it's kind of like something out of a movie or a cartoon at the start where the tires come screeching around the corner. He's like, "Oh, what's going on?" But so mad, like, um, yeah, like that's one exciting delivery anyway. But if his car had imagine that trying to explain that back at the pizza shop, like they probably wouldn't have believed him. If he was like, "No, I swear the car got totaled because there was a high speed chase, and then I tripped the guy up," and they're like, "No, you're only saying that you're fired." But yeah, very very good there. I'd say he'll definitely remember that delivery. Um, Now, so what was I gonna say? So before I head off, because it's nearly 10 past 4 here, and actually I didn't notice the time going by. See, that's it. The time flies when you're having fun, and I didn't didn't see the time going by so quickly there. Um, but as I was saying, I'm going to have that other live stream coming up soon in a couple of days' time. I'm hoping, where we're going to discuss the Regency Hotel shooting trial verdict, and there'll be some other things as well that I'm going to discuss in that. And then, of course, as always, we're going to probably look at a few clips as well. Um, and Yeah, so that should be an interesting one. I hope you'll join me then. If you're only joining this stream and you've been here or you're watching it back on the replay and you're still watching, thanks for sticking with us. And don't forget, we uploaded a new video this evening. Just there, I don't actually have the thumbnail uploaded, which I should have had it here, but I don't have the thumbnail uploaded. But it was of that guy live streaming that police chase in the UK. So definitely check that out if you haven't seen that. I will have a new video in the next couple of days, and as I said, I will have a wolf update video coming up soon, and of course there'll be another one in June. And I'm hoping to do another live stream out and about. When I get the quality better, I'm going to do that one that I was talking about from that special location, and yeah, so hopefully I can get that ironed out soon. And as I said, this degenerate debrief is sort of a thing that I thought of the other day, only where I was saying that just for anyone that's just joined us late or whatever, where after some of the live streams, I'm thinking of, or live streams after some of the premieres have finished, I'm thinking of going live after them and just having a bit of chats, kind of like this, where there's no real like, with like with the other live stream, it's going to be about that trial, but like but this was kind of about everything and anything. It kind of just we'll see where it goes. So I was kind of thinking of doing something like that. So yeah, so I'll definitely be back in the next few days, and I thank everyone that's came along for joining us, and everyone that's been here from the start, and people that are here from the premiere that came across as well. So thank you very much to everyone for joining us, and it's great to see everyone, and I hope you all have a great weekend. And yeah, of course it's Friday tomorrow, so that's one reason. Well, Friday tomorrow, it's Friday now, folks. It's Friday now here, so yeah, something to be happy about. So yeah, thanks again, guys, and I'm gonna get my beauty sleep because I definitely need it. So um, thanks for joining me. So I'll see you all again soon.